Hello, welcome to my channel, and today we are going to review this book, American Gods by Neil Gaiman. This is about Shadow, and he's been locked behind bars for 3 years, and when he gets released, he finds out that his wife is dead and he doesn't really have a job. So he meets this other guy named Mr. Wednesday, who is definitely suspicious. We don't know exactly what he is, but he tells Shadow that he can have him a job and make him rich in a few days' time. So yeah, that is basically the premise of this book. I'm not going to give you too much on it. So now on to the actual discussion of this book. So there may be spoilers in this video, so if you haven't read this book yet, then you should stop watching this and read the book and then come back. So this book obviously follows Shadow, and it turns out that in this book Shadow goes on an adventure with Mr. Wednesday. Now Mr. Wednesday is a god. He is the god Odin from Thor or Norse mythology, and so he is kind of a strong character, but also kind of like, he's also kind of a trickster as well. So in the beginning he tells the gods that there's new gods that are trying to take over the old god, the way of the old god, of worshipping and stuff like that. So the new gods are like the god of TV, or the god of the VCR, or, well, the god of the cell phone. I don't know, different gods of electronics, which is kind of pathetic to me. But anyway, so he is trying to destroy those gods and talking to the gods to make sure that they listen. On the way, Shadow does experience some bizarre things. So Shadow, in this book, Shadow definitely experiences, he raises his dead girlfriend or dead wife from the grave, and she's a ghost. She saves him multiple times, which, yeah. Like, she first saves him, she saves him, from drowning or something. And then I think she saves him from these two people that are trying to get information about Mr. Wednesday. And, like, they take Shadow away, and basically, like, yeah, they, like, they're going to, like, torture him, and she basically kills both of them, the bad guys or whatever, and takes Shadow away. Also, this book had some sort of a mystery, so there was a killer in this book, but it wasn't really, that part was like when Shadow or Mr. Wednesday took Shadow to another area, since he was causing havoc and getting all captured and stuff, and he decided to put him in a hideout. In that hideout there was a murder and a bunch of people died, but I don't really remember, it wasn't that memorable. So I think people got missing, but they didn't, like, there was no body or anything. So, and nobody, like, tried to do anything. There wasn't like, oh, you need to find out. But then Shadow doesn't find out anything. So after that, Shadow dies. Not Shadow. Mr. Wednesday or Odin dies, and Shadow is if he dies, then Shadow has to kind of not give up his life. It's sort of like that, but it's like kind of sacrifice yourself to the gods, or because you kind of helped him. So he thinks he's gonna die, and he goes through this traumatic event where he's tied to a tree. And this one was when it was really interesting, because he basically thought he was gonna die in this book, and he really did. Also, there is multiple gods in this book, but not all of the gods show up. So we have like the girl god, I forgot her name, with all the arms, her arms or whatever. I think she's a Hindu god or something. And then we have some Indian gods, I believe, in this book. And it's not like, and Loki's in this book. Loki is my favorite character from Norse mythology. He is like the best character. And so I love Loki, and Loki in this god is a god, and he actually is a reappearing character in the beginning, because in the beginning you don't know it's Loki, but he's like the jailmate, Shadow's jailmate, and basically he dies as well, but he kind of like tries to kill Shadow and stuff, because Shadow has awakened Odin, and so Shadow like is kind of confronted by Loki, and Loki tries to kill Shadow, but instead his wife, or dead wife, well, what happens, she gets not reborn, but kind of brought to life again. But she doesn't die, but she like gets brought back to life. Now when Shadow does bring her back to life because she's a ghost, then he brings her back to life using the gods and stuff. And but this book is an interesting book, but it is a long book, and I do think that there is a lot of things that I'm missing. There's a lot of short stories which I enjoyed tremendously, but the whole story of itself is rather chaotic, and what I mean by chaotic is all over the place. It's not like straight story, straight through. You can understand the characters. You can understand some of the characters, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I was like, what? Where? Who are they? And then never explained in the book. So yeah, there is a lot of questions that I have for the book, like who those two guys were that questioned Shadow when they captured him. What were the, like, when the guys did decide to fight the war and stuff, why was it until Odin died that they fought the war? And other things as well, like what did the short stories mean? Like, if you took those short stories out, would it be more comprehensive? Yeah. And so I did rate this book, and I rated it a 3 out of 5. Again, it was okay. The beginning is really good, and it's got really great writing. So yeah, and that is it. That is my review for American Gods by Neil Gaiman. Have a great day. Bye.